Sophia came home that night wearing a relaxed smile, as if the evening she'd just spent with another man was nothing out of the ordinary. But I didn't return that smile. Instead, I met her with a cold, steady glare and a voice that left no room for debate. You have 10 minutes to sign the divorce papers and leave my house. What she hadn't expected was the presence of another woman, Adrian's wife Amal, standing beside me. That night would be burned into Sophia's memory forever. When I first met Sophia, I thought I'd found someone real. She was intelligent, driven, captivating. Everything I imagined in a life partner. We both had demanding careers. She was a financial consultant, and I ran a luxury hospitality business. Despite our busy lives, we always seemed to find our way back to one another. Or so I believed. The changes crept in quietly. Sophia, who used to guard our dinner time as sacred, began working late more often. I assumed it was just the stress of her job. I didn't want to seem suspicious or controlling, so I dismissed the unease in my gut. I trusted her. Then one evening, as we sat watching a show, her phone buzzed. She silenced it quickly and turned it face down on the coffee table, giving a nervous little laugh. I asked who it was, trying to sound casual. She looked me in the eye. Just a client. He's being a bit too persistent. Her words made sense, but her body said otherwise. The tension in her shoulders, the tight grip on the phone. That was the night the doubt settled in, and it never left. Over the following weeks, the signs grew impossible to ignore. Her late nights became too predictable, too perfectly aligned with missed calls and hurried messages she labeled work-related. But instinct told me otherwise. One evening, after she left for another so-called client meeting, I sat at her laptop. She'd forgotten to log out of her email. What I saw shattered whatever was left of my trust. There were intimate emails, explicit exchanges with a man named Adrian. These weren't casual flirtations. They described their secret meetups in upscale restaurants and boutique hotels. The worst part? I knew Adrian. I'd met him before at one of Sophia's events. That night, I remembered how they laughed too freely, stood too close. It all clicked now. Still, I didn't confront her yet. I needed something concrete. I hired a private investigator. In just a few weeks, he returned with everything: photos, videos, receipts, time-stamped proof. The betrayal was undeniable. What cut even deeper was learning that Adrian's wife, Amal, had no idea. I mailed her a package, anonymous but full of evidence. Inside, I included a short note. You deserve the truth. If you'd like to talk, here's my number. She called soon after. Amal was devastated, but calm. We met in a quiet cafe, laying bare the betrayal, the embarrassment, the rage. Her voice trembled, but her will was strong. I'm going to confront him, she said. But I want it to hurt. Her fire struck a chord with me. Then let's do it together, I said. Let's make sure they never forget this. She gave me a small smile. I like how you think. We spent weeks planning the confrontation. Every detail had to land perfectly. Sophia told me she'd be working late on a Saturday. I already knew she would be with Adrian and Amal. I made dinner reservations at the same restaurant before their arrival. Amal and I sat in a quiet corner, hidden in plain sight, waiting. They walked in hand, laughing, oblivious. I held my anger tight. We needed the right moment. Once their meals had been served, Amal and I stood and approached their table. The second they saw us, the color drained from their faces. Silence gripped the room. Sophia, I said evenly, you forgot to mention you'd be dining with Adrian tonight. And you, Adrian, Amal added, her tone as cold as ice, seemed to have been keeping quite the busy schedule. Sophia turned pale. Jacob, please. I can explain. You'll have time. I cut her off, placing a folder on the table. These are divorce papers. You have 10 minutes to sign. After that, you're out of my home. Divorce? She whispered, as if the word was foreign. You're overreacting. No, I said. What's ridiculous is that you thought I wouldn't find out. That you threw everything away for this. Adrian started to rise, but Amal placed a firm hand on his arm. Sit down. We're not finished. She pulled out her own folder. This will be on your company's desk by Monday morning. Let's see how they feel about their CFO using company money to wine and dine his mistress. Adrian turned ghost white. You wouldn't. Oh, I already have, she said flatly. Sophia left with nothing but her purse. By the next morning, the locks were changed. I had her belongings sent to her parents' house. She tried calling, texting, even showing up at my workplace. I never answered. The divorce was finalized quickly, and she walked away with far less than she'd expected. Adrian didn't fare any better. Amal kept her word. He was fired swiftly, and word of his affair spread like wildfire. Amal filed for divorce soon after. Last I heard, he was living alone in a small, rundown apartment, a far cry from the luxury life he once paraded around. Amal and I kept in touch. At first, it was just to support one another, to process the chaos and loss. But slowly, it turned into something more. We found in each other an unexpected comfort, a shared strength, a quiet understanding. Betrayal wounds deeply, but sometimes it clears the path to something better. Exposing the truth isn't only about uncovering lies. It's about ensuring those responsible never forget the harm they caused. And sometimes real justice isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power, standing tall in the wreckage, and walking forward with your dignity unbroken.